I'm a retired engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I worked on as an engineer, I'm very familiar with Boeing.
Well, that's what I thought. Like I had read that you were like an aeronautics engineer.
I was an aerospace engineer, but let me tell you what I did with Boeing. It made me very familiar with it.
Uh-huh.
I designed the big shaker system. I was a lead engineer on it. I was the guy that designed the digital filter. Since the accelerometers put on these big airframes when they mounted them on this huge shaker. And this big shaker shakes the big airframe. That's a complete airplane. It shakes it through the frequency spectrum of 0 through 2,000 cycles per second. And the reason is you want to find all the weaknesses in the airframe where when it vibrates that it builds up the resonant frequency until the plane will explode by itself. And I don't know if you remember when...
Oh, so the shaker's like the thing that artificially simulates like it's flying.
It's a test device for these aircraft. Now, let me tell you why it was done. Back in the late 50s, in the first intercontinental passenger jet was the British Comet. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No.
And during the first couple of years that the Comet was flying, there was 5 of them that disappeared and nobody knew what happened to them. Until gradually, they found the wreckage. What happened is these planes developed resonant frequencies and they just exploded in the air. They're flying at 36,000 feet at 500 miles per hour in the air. The wings start vibrating. And so what happens is they have to design these airframes so that they'll damp out these resonant frequencies. Well, anyway, I, became very familiar with the fragility of these airframes. All they are flying aluminum beer cans. I mean, if they built long enough to be safe, they wouldn't be able to get off the ground.
Yeah, the whole fuselage is very thin, and like you compare it like to a beer can or something.
Think of those things cutting hole in steel beams and going in the building. I mean, how stupid can you think people are to believe that crap?
Well, that's the thing. Like in reality, it should have like hit the building, crushed up in front.
Oh yeah.
The tail should have like fell down to the ground or something.
Well, it should have. What happened when the plane hit it?
The wings should have broken to pieces or something.
If it didn't hit it exactly right, in other words, one wing would hit before the other one would, and it would cause the plane to rotate in the opposite direction of where the first part of it hit the building. And then as, the plane went, you get all these vibrations, and this plane would be shaking. I mean, it would be a catastrophe. You'd have pieces flying all over the place.
Well,
maybe an engine. I don't even think an engine could have penetrated the building.
Well, did you see what they showed as the engine that was sitting there on the corner of the street on the sidewalk?
Yeah, they showed a 737 engine.
Right under the scaffolding?
Yeah. Undercover.
Undercover?
Well, anyway, I also contacted friends of mine that were still working at Boeing. And because I know that those planes can't fly very fast at sea level. And if you count the frames that it takes in that video, or any of those videos, they're all the same. It takes either 6 or 7 frames.
Mm-hmm.
And if it takes 7 frames to fly its own length, which is 159 feet, that means the plane was averaging 465 miles per hour. If it took 6 frames, that meant the plane averaged 543 miles per hour. Well, according to the Boeing experts, or the Boeing people themselves, the engineering department,
like the official word?
The plane maxes out the specs on the plane. The power plant will max out at 700 feet altitude at 330 miles per hour. In other words, it can't fly that fast. And the plane will begin to shake itself apart at about 220 miles per hour at that altitude. So if the plane were flying that fast at that altitude, it would have shook itself apart before it hit the building. You see the engine with the cowlings around them are, I think, something like 12 feet in diameter on the 767. And they're built to fly at over 30,000 feet. And when you're at 700 feet altitude, the air is so thick that when the engine, you match the rotation of the turbines, the air, they can't suck the air in, and the things start acting as a brake.
Would that be the same like at the Pentagon where they said it couldn't have like flown like that low off the ground because
yeah, there's ground effect. You can't fly a plane that low on the ground, those planes. Because the very aerodynamics that gives the plane the lift, what happens is when a plane's flying through the airfoil, on the leading edge of the airfoil of the wing, causes the air to be glanced upwards above the plane. And what happens, it creates a vacuum just behind the airflow, and therefore the air pressure below pushes it up. Well, plus the fact you got your airlines, which are at a slight angle to the ground, which helps give it the lift, and that thing is pushing air down to the ground, towards the ground, and so it's going to force. At 500 miles an hour at ground level, you got a vacuum above the plane, plus all this air pressure being generated by the wing.
Okay, so give them the benefit of the doubt and say, so it wouldn't even be able to last seconds at that low altitude?
No, it couldn't.
It would just like, it would start to vibrate and break up right away if it...
Yeah, it couldn't even get to that low level.
It couldn't even get to that level.
Oh.
It couldn't even get to that level.
No. You see, when a plane's coming in, when those planes are coming in, like a 767, what's it weigh? It's landing about 150 tons. It's got a lot of air pressure holding it to keep it from collapsing into the ground. And it's usually they land. And of course it has to be landing pretty fast to generate the force to keep it lifted. And so they landed about 170 miles per hour, which is that's pushing just about the top speed they can land at.
So even to make the turns, like they said...
Yeah, the whole thing is ridiculous.
So even those turns would start shaking it and breaking it up and stuff?
Yep.
Because of, like, the G-forces or whatever?
Yeah.
So they, why... How can you... For people to accept this stuff, like, how is it possible?
It's hard to believe. I could never believe that this thing would last this long. But you find out people are stupid.
Over my building, and there's been another collision. Can you see it? I
Yes.
can see it on this shot.
Oh my!
Something else has
You know
just.
what?
And
We
that
just
looked more
saw
like
a plane circling the
747.
building. We just saw a plane circling the building.
nothing like that. It just went directly in, creating this sort of cavern-like hole. It reminds you of the worst kind of effects in movies that...
The towers.
Yes. It appears, because of the angle, I think, that the towers are leaning, and I don't think that is actually the case.